So far, we've used most of the bullets. We've simplified. We've canceled factors, not terms. We've matched identical factors on the top and the bottom. We haven't actually seen opposite factors, but if we did, it would produce a -1. The one thing we haven't done yet is we have not looked at factoring first. So we are going to do some problems where we factor first. So on worksheet 2, so you can see some problems here from worksheet 2, we're going to do the odds once again, and this will include some factoring problems. So looking at number 1, we have 8a minus 8b over a squared minus b squared. So interestingly, like a rational, we have 2 parts, the top and the bottom. So we are going to have to factor twice, the top and the bottom separately. So let's just look at the top. 8a minus 8b has a common factor, a greatest common factor of 8. So we're going to factor out that 8 and leave behind a minus b. Awesome. So we just factored the top. The bottom, you should hear alarm bells in your head. There's squares, a squared and b squared, and they have a subtraction between them. So that's a difference of squares. So our formula is a minus b times a plus b. So now that we've factored, what can we cancel? A minus b and a minus b cancel to make our final answer 8 over a plus b. So when you factor, it works just like worksheet 1, but you got to do the factoring first. So number 3, actually I don't want to slide over. We've got 12 minus 4a over a squared plus a minus 12. So I know you might be thinking, oh, I see 12s, I see a's, let's cancel. No, we always factor first. So let's factor the top first. On the top, we have 12 and 4, and that has a GCF of 4. So we're going to factor out our GCF of 4, which leaves us with 3 minus a on top. Awesome. Now onto the bottom, we have a squared plus a minus 13. So this is going to be a 2-step factoring. So you'd need an X puzzle with -12 on top and 1 on the bottom. What multiplies to -12 and adds to 1? That's going to be 4 and -3. So into our parentheses goes a plus 4 and a minus 3. So I don't see anything that matches after now that we factored. I don't see any factors that match. I see a 4, I see a 3 minus a, I see an a plus 4 and an a minus 3. Don't think that the 3's and the 4's all cancel here. They don't. But take a closer look at 3 minus a and a minus 3. How could you describe those? Those are opposites. So 3 minus a and a minus 3 will cancel, but they'll leave behind a -1. So opposites will always cancel as a -1. So our final answer here is 4 times -1. That's just -4 over a plus 4. So that's our final answer for number 3. Number 5, we have 2 2-step factorings here. I'm going to go faster through this. They factor as z minus 5 times z plus 1. And then the bottom is z squared plus 4z minus 45. That factors as z plus 9 times z minus 5. So now that we've factored the 2-step factoring, you can practice that in previous units, or the notes there. But the z minus 5s will match and cancel. The z plus 1 and the z plus 9 do not match. So our final answer is z plus 1 over z plus 9. On to number 7. Number 7 is the first one where we don't have to factor both the top and the bottom. So it's -x squared plus 8x minus 12 over x minus 2. X minus 2 cannot be factored. So let's just leave it for now as x minus 2 on the bottom. Therefore, on the top, I'm really hoping I can get an x minus 2. One thing I to note about the top is it starts with a negative, and we don't like to start with a negative. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a negative outside of my parentheses and then change every sign. So one thing you can do to rewrite that is negative on the outside of a parentheses, and then change plus 8x into minus 8x and plus 12 from minus 12. Pretty ugly in terms of writing, so I'll rewrite that. There we go. So now you would use two-step. What multiplies to 12 and adds to negative 8? It's going to be x minus 6 and x minus 2. So notice I mentioned earlier, we're going to want that x minus 2 on the top because we knew it was on the bottom. We got it. They cancel. So our final answer is negative x minus 6. Moving over to number 9, we have another difference of squares, x squared minus 9 divided by x squared plus x minus 6. So that's a two-step on the bottom and then a difference of squares on top. So x squared minus 9 turns into x plus and minus. What goes after that? It's the square root of 9, so 3 will go into the back. Then on the bottom, what multiplies to 6? A negative 6, sorry, and adds to positive 1, x plus 3, and x minus 2. So that would cancel the x plus 3's, leaving us with a nice x minus 3 over x minus 2 as our final answer. Can't cancel the x's, don't fall into that trap, and you can't cancel negatives or anything weird like, or subtraction or anything weird like that. So just leave it as x minus 3 over x minus 2. Number 11, x squared plus 5x over x squared minus 25. I'm going to start with what I like to start with is the difference of squares. X minus 5, x plus 5. Take the square roots and put opposite signs in there. And then on top, x squared plus 5x, you might be thinking, oh, I don't know how to factor that at first, but take a second look. There's an x squared and an x, just a GCF of x. So we're left with x plus 5 on the top. That means the plus 5's will cancel, and we're just left with x over x minus 5. This to me is where it gets really frustrating when you make a canceling mistake. You just factored perfectly, you canceled appropriately, and if you look at the final answer here and say x over x minus 5, well, I can cancel those x's, my answer is just negative 1/5. You've thought too hard about it. X on top does not cancel with x minus 5 on the bottom. This is your final answer because the x on the bottom is a term, not a factor. So you cannot cancel terms with factors. You can only cancel factors with factors. All right, number 13 looks complicated at first glance, but it's another one that has a GCF. So on top, we have 2y to the third minus 12y squared plus 2y. Well, I heard a lot of even numbers and y's, so I'm just going to assume I have a GCF that has a 2y in it. Let's check. 2y to the third, yeah, there's at least a 2 and a y there. 12y squared, yep, there's a 2 and a y there. And then 2y, there's definitely a 2y there. So let's put what's left. Y squared minus 6y plus 1. We took the entire 2y, so we have to leave a plus 1 there. All right, we'll factor that in a second, but for now, let's just rewrite it as it is. Y squared minus 6y plus 1. So hold on, take a look. We factored out a 2y, but now my parentheses matches my entire denominator, y squared minus 6y plus 1. Good news is sometimes if your entire polynomial matches, you don't actually have to factor. We're done. Our final answer is just 2y because the whole polynomial canceled. On to our last one, x squared minus 2x minus 15 over x squared plus 10x plus 21. This is number 15. We have two two-step polynomials that we got to factor. So x and x will go in the front, on the top and the bottom. You should be thinking to yourself, what multiplies to negative 15 and adds to negative 2 to factor the top? And then on the bottom, what multiplies to 21 and adds to 10 to factor the bottom? I'm just going to do the bottom first. I like the 21 and 10 better. They're both going to be positive. I like the positive numbers. And 7 and 3 multiply to 21 and add to 10. On the top, one's going to be negative, one's going to be positive because we have a negative number, so they have to have opposite signs. The bigger number will be negative, and it's going to be negative 5 and positive 3. So looking over, we have x plus 3 matches x plus 3. Those cancel. So we're left with x minus 5 over x plus 7 is our final answer.